Losing your keys is always stressful. But when you lose a set of high security Banham keys, well, that can feel like a full blown crisis. But don't you worry. In this explainer, we are going to cut right through the panic and give you a clear, step by step plan to get your home secure again. So, what's the very first thing you should be thinking about?
It's that horrible sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach, isn't it? The frantic patting of your pockets, digging through your bag. We've all been there. But you're right, when it's a Banham key, the stakes just feel so much higher. The good news is there's a clear process to follow, and we're going to walk through it together right now. All right, first things first. Those first few moments after you realize your keys are gone, they're absolutely critical. These next steps are all about immediate triage. Doing what's necessary right away to lower the risk and hopefully save yourself a whole lot of time, money, and anxiety. Okay, let's break this down. Step one is the simplest one, but it's so easy to forget when you're panicking. Do you have a spare key with a trusted friend or a family member? That is your fastest way back to normal. If not, you move immediately to step two. Call Banham directly or, and this is really crucial, a Master Locksmith Association accredited professional. So why a specialist? Because they have the right tools and, more importantly, the authorization to handle high security locks without messing anything up. And finally, step three is about being honest with yourself. Did your keys just slip out of your pocket somewhere, or did they vanish from your bag in a crowded place? The answer to that question, well, it changes everything.
And this is exactly why that assessment is so important. Look, if your keys are just lost, the main goal is simply getting a replacement. But if there's even a tiny chance they were stolen, you have to treat it like a direct security breach. Someone could have your keys and know where you live. In that case, just getting a new key is not enough. You absolutely have to get the lock rekeyed or even replaced entirely. That's the only way to make that old stolen key completely useless.
So let's say your keys were just lost, and all you need is a replacement. Why can't you just pop down to the local hardware store and get a copy cut? Well, the high security system you paid for means there's a very specific, controlled process that's designed to protect you. The magic word here is registered. Your Banham key is part of a registered system. That means its design is patented, and making copies is super tightly controlled. Now, this isn't meant to be an inconvenience. It's the very heart of its security. It's a feature, not a bug. It's the whole reason just anyone can't go and make a copy of your house key, and it's why only authorized dealers are allowed to help you out. So how do you prove you're the rightful owner of the key? You're going to need your official key registration card. That's the little document you got when the locks were first installed. If you can't find it, don't panic. Other proofs of ownership can work too. But here's a little pro tip for you. When you do find that card, take a photo of it right away and save it somewhere safe on your phone. That way, you'll never be caught without it again. Now, you might be thinking, what if I have an older system, or for some reason my keys aren't registered? In that kind of situation, for your own peace of mind and for total security, the best and often the only real option is to replace the entire lock. It's the only way to be 100% sure that any old keys floating around out there are completely useless. Okay, but what if you're renting? Or you're a landlord? The responsibilities shift a little bit. So let's look at that now, and then we're going to cover a really critical warning that applies to absolutely everyone who has a high security lock. If you're a tenant, your first move has to be telling your landlord immediately. Your tenancy agreement will probably say who has to cover the cost, but just being open and honest is the top priority. And for all you landlords out there, this really highlights why you must always use a registered professional locksmith. It's the only way you can maintain a secure record of who has access to your property. And now for that critical warning I mentioned. In a moment of panic, it can be really tempting to look up a DIY fix online, maybe to try and save a bit of money. My advice? Don't even think about it. Banham locks are precision-engineered security devices. They're not just simple bits of hardware. Trying to fix it yourself is almost guaranteed to cause more damage, which will cost you way more in the long run and will instantly void your warranty. This is a job for the pros, period. Okay. I know that was a lot of information to take in, especially when you're already feeling stressed out. So let's just boil all of that down into a final, simple security checklist. These are the absolute key things you need to remember. So let's put it all together. Here's your action plan. It's simple. First, act fast and get a professional on the phone. Second, have your proof of ownership ready to go to speed everything up. Third, and this is crucial, if there's any chance of theft, insist on a lock change. Don't just settle for a new key. If you're a tenant, your very first call is to your landlord. And finally, the golden rule we just talked about. Step away from the toolbox and never, ever, ever attempt a DIY repair. Following these steps will absolutely solve your immediate problem and get your home secure again.
But it also brings up a bigger, more important question. This whole experience forces you to think really hard about one point of entry to your home. So once this issue is sorted, use it as a prompt. Your front door is secure now, sure, but what about the rest of your home's security plan?